Hare Krishna, very dear devotees, and welcome back once again to our ever ongoing series on the glories of our most beloved Sri Vrindavan Dham. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Pashtaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namane Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pacharine Divishesha Shunyavadi Pastraja Deshatarane. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. So once again, we are continuing with our mini-series on stimulation for ecstatic love, and this will be part 103. 103. Now, as many of you may remember, last week we ended our lecture by saying that we were concluding the four qualities of Krishna that distinguish him from Lord Narayan, and the subject of last Friday's lecture was the fourth quality, namely Rupa Madhuri, his extraordinary beauty which astonishes all moving and non-moving entities. Well, I've actually decided to continue speaking on that quality because I came across more nectarian information on Rupa Madhuri, Krishna's extraordinary personal beauty, and that is specifically the beauty of his face, his beautiful face, Krishna's beautiful face. Actually, Krishna's face is very charming. It's described therein very beautifully by Govinda Das. There's several Govinda Dasas actually in our Gaudiya Vaishnava tradition, but this is one of the 8 Astachap poets of Vallabhacharya. He writes as follows: "O brother, look at the moon-like face of Krishna. His broad forehead is the resting place of all good fortunes. His nose is the pride of Cupid. His lips are all auspicious. His cheeks are cups filled with sweet nectar. His ears are fans of divinity. His eyes are lakes of coryllium. His eyelashes are like the petals of a rose. His brows are the bow of Lord Shiva. His chin is the estate of luxury or opulence." Govinda Das would sacrifice his everything for the coolant face of the Lord, for the coolant face of the Lord. Very beautiful description. So again, Krishna's face is very charming. In fact, Krishna's face is so charming, I was reading, that he himself hankers to see it in his incarnation of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. In Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Lila 245, we hear as follows: Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu continued, "My dear friends, I have not the slightest tinge of love of Godhead within my heart. When you see me crying in separation, I am just falsely exhibiting a demonstration of my great fortune. Indeed, not seeing the beautiful face of Krishna playing his flute, I continue to live my life like an insect without purpose." Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He wants to see the face of Krishna, his face. So, it's interesting, I did some research and found out that the Sanskrit term for face is mukham. Mukham. Other synonyms for mukham are vaktram, asyam, vadanam, tundam, ananam, and lapanam. A little technical there. The term mukham, I discovered, is derived from the verbal root khan, K-H-A-N, meaning literally to break or shatter, as in the Sanskrit phrase kanati vidhara yati anadikam iti mukham. Quote, "That which breaks down grains, etc., by crushing is known as mukha, or the mouth." So we also see the word mukham in regards to face, isn't it, in Bhagavad Gita, 11th chapter, text number 11, where Arjuna saw Krishna as Vishvato Mukham, he who is with faces in all direction, literally. He who is with faces in all direction. And this, of course, is the Virata Rupa form of Krishna, who has all sorts of faces in all directions. We've seen the painting. However, this form was, as you know, very terrifying to look at. Therefore, Arjuna asked to see the four-handed form of Krishna, followed by the Lord's original two-handed form. And those four-handed and two-handed forms are described in the Srimad Bhagavatam 1.9.24 and other places as Mukham Bhuja. Mukham Bhuja. The term Mukhi here again means face, and the term Ambuja means lotus. Therefore the term Mukham Bhuja. Mukham Bhuja. And the term Mukham Bhuja can mean two things. Mukham Ambujam Viva means his face is like a lotus, or Mukham Ambujam Eva, his face is the lotus. His face is the lotus. Now, this is a little technical again. There's a subtle difference between these two understandings. In the first understanding, the face of Krishna is being compared to a lotus. This is the literary ornament named upama, or a simile. And the second understanding, the face is being directly equated to a lotus. And this is a literary ornament named rupaka, a metaphor, used to denote extreme similarity between two objects. Our acharyas have described this, so I'm sharing it with you. Thus, depending on what impression a particular poet or author wants to give, they can either compare Krishna's face to a lotus or directly equate it to a lotus. They can compare Krishna's face to a lotus or directly equate it to a lotus. But the question may arise here, why specifically a lotus? Krishna's lotus face. Why don't we describe Krishna's face, or for that matter, other parts of his transcendental form, his lotus eyes, etc.? Why not other flowers? The simple answer is that the lotus is the only flower which was not created by Lord Brahma. Yes? Isn't that interesting? The lotus is the only flower which was not created by Lord Brahma. Remember, he was born on a lotus flower, and hence the lotus is not a creation of Brahma. Therefore, it's the only flower which deserves to be equated to Krishna's face, since Krishna's face is also not a creation of Lord Brahma. Scholars say that his lotus face is always decorated with a smile that removes the sins of all moving and non-moving entities. So beautiful. And Srimad Bhagavatam 10:90-48 says, Shtirachara Vrijina Gana Su Samita Shri Mukhena. I like this. His beautiful smiling face always increases the loving desires of the gopis of Vrindavan. May he be all glorious and happy. Now, also, sometimes Krishna's face, only subject matter of this lecture, is also compared to a moon. For example, I found in Chaitanya Charitamrita Antilila 1133, Hridaya Dhari Mu Tomara Kamala Charana Nayene Dik Himu Tomara Chanda Vadhana. I wish to catch your lotus-like feet upon my heart and see your moon-like face. I wish to catch your lotus-like feet upon my heart and see your moon-like face. And Sri Rupa Goswami also says in his illustrious Govinda Virodhavali, Dvija Pati Tunda. Dvija Pati Tunda. It means he has a face resembling the moon. When we look in the dark sky, what's beautiful? The stars, and amongst all the stars is the moon. However, I was thinking here another question may arise, that the moon has many phases of waxing and waning. So which phase of the moon is Krishna's face comparable to? The waxing or the waning? And the reply is given by Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami. Where? In his Govinda Lilamrita, 8.4. He writes, Sitrita Murali Sparach Charad Amanda Chanda Nana. As he holds his charming flute to his lips, his face looks as beautiful as the full autumn moon. As he holds his charming flute to his lips, his face looks as beautiful as what? The full autumn moon. Like that. Now, excuse me. If we go deeper, and always we want to go deeper and deeper, as we go deeper into the subject of Krishna's charming face, the Srimad Bhagavatam 2.5.37 says that Krishna's mouth, part of the face, mouth, it's the birthplace of the Brahmanas. Purushasya mukham brahma. The Brahmanas represent his mouth, thus feeding a Brahman is considered to be feeding Krishna directly. And where is this confirmed? This is confirmed by Lord Rishabhdev in Srimad Bhagavatam 5.5.23. He starts out, Yasmin Nibri Parvutam Shraddha Yaham. When people know my motive, after performing rituals according to the Vedic principles, they offer food to me with faith and love through the mouth of a Brahmana. When food is thus offered unto me, I eat it with full satisfaction. Indeed, I derive more pleasure from food offered in that way than from food offered in the sacrificial fire. I'd like to recite that again. When people know my motive, after performing rituals according to Vedic principles, they offer food to me with faith and love through the mouth of a Brahmana. When food is thus offered to me, I eat it with full satisfaction. Indeed, I derive more pleasure from food offered in that way than from food offered in the sacrificial fire, through the mouth of a Brahmana. So we've given many details, specifically on Krishna's face, because of all of his rupa madhuri, his astonishing beauty. His face is considered the most beautiful. He has many beautiful features in his transcendental form, his vigraha. But of all that astonishing beauty, the acharyas say his face is the most beautiful. And that is why the Srimad Bhagavatam 2.13 actually recommends a gradual process in Krishna consciousness, but culminating in his face. It recommends meditating from the Lord's lotus feet up to his smiling face. Just like we start Srimad Bhagavatam for first canto, and we go to the 10th canto, which is describing his wonderful pastimes in Vrindavan. That's the goal. So we start from the feet and we meditate upwards to the lotus face of the Lord. We read the Bhagavatam from first canto to 10th canto, on to the 12th. And that's very nicely described in Srimad Bhagavatam 2.2.13. It states, the process of meditation should begin from the lotus feet of the Lord and progress to his smiling face. The meditation should be concentrated upon the lotus feet, then the calves, then the thighs, and in this way, higher and higher. The more the mind becomes fixed upon the different parts of the limbs, one after another, the more the intelligence becomes purified. By meditating on the form of the Lord, one of the results is that our intelligence becomes purified and we can see things in the proper way. Now, so potent is this most charming feature of Krishna, his face, that in Krishna book, chapter 29, Srila Prabhupada writes, Srila Rupa Goswami states that one who has been captivated by the beautiful smiling face of Krishna will lose all attraction for material enjoyment. And then Srila Prabhupada directly quotes Rupa Goswami, wherein one gopi is advising another. Very famous passage, which all devotees know. One gopi is advising another. My dear friend, if you desire to enjoy the company of material society, friendship and love, then please do not go see that smiling boy Govinda, who is standing on the bank of the Jamuna while playing his flute, his lips brightened by the beams of the full moonlight. So those lips are part of his beautiful face, and he's playing the flute with those lips. Now, just how beautiful Krishna's face is, because again, details and love is in the details. So just how beautiful Krishna's face is described in detail in Srimad Bhagavatam 9:24-65. There it's described. Krishna's face is decorated with ornaments such as earrings resembling sharks. His ears are beautiful, his cheeks brilliant, and his smiling attractive to everyone. Whoever sees Lord Krishna sees a festival. His face and body are fully satisfying for everyone to see, but the devotees are angry at the Creator for the disturbance caused by the momentary blinking of the eyes. That's how deep, how intense is a devotee's meditation on the all-beautiful Lord. Just blinking the eyes. Brahma, you created these eyes which blink. I'm quoting the gopis, actually. Now, how can we be sure, how can we be sure that these many beautiful descriptions of Krishna's charming face are in fact accurate, that specific details are given? Well, one very convincing way is that when Brahmanab, Krishna's great-grandson, wanted to make a deity or deities of Krishna similar to Krishna to console the people of Vrindavan after Krishna's departure, he actually asked the mother of Maharaj Parikshit, who is that, Uttara, to describe the beauty of Krishna's body. Why? Because at that time she was the only living person who had actually seen Krishna. She was the wife of Abhimanyu and the daughter-in-law of Arjuna. Now, upon being asked by Brahmanab, she first described to a sculptor the lotus feet of Krishna, which then became the lotus feet of the Madan Mohan deity, whom the sculptor first carved. Madan Mohan, as you know, was later discovered 500 years ago by Srila Sanatana Goswami. So that's what the feet of Krishna look like. Then she describes, remembering Krishna, the middle portion of Krishna's body, which the sculptor then included in the form of the Gopinath deity. And finally, she described the beautiful face of Krishna, the charming face of Krishna, which we now see in the face of Govindaji, the Govindaji deity, as you know, presently being worshipped in Jaipur, Rajasthan. And it's so interesting, I was reading that as soon as Uttara saw the beautiful face of Govindaji, she covered her face with her veil. For looking at one's elder in-laws was not allowed even for the queens in those days. So she covered her. Because Govindaji and Krishna, so she covered, seeing his face, she covered it out of shyness. And it's also written that after covering her face, she became ecstatic and started to dance in ecstasy. Hare Krishna. Such is the history of the Hare Krishna movement. From beginning to end. Of course, there's no end eternally. It's simply ecstatic. Hare Krishna. So, Prabhus, this is part one of the beauty of Krishna's face. And next week, we'll continue with part two, because a lot of nectar. I always say, seek and ye shall find. So I love going through this treasure chest of our scriptures and finding all these jewels to share with you, authorized jewels, all backed up by quotes from Shastra. So for now, let us conclude with an appropriate verse from Krishna Karnamrita by Srila Bhivamangal Thakur. It's short and sweet. It's verse 6. May his, Krishna's, lotus face filled with the honey of the sound of his flute, with two tender cheeks acting like sapphire mirrors, with half-closed lotus eyes like flower buds, blossom in the lake of my mind. Blossom in the lake of my mind. Thank you, Bhivamogo. We're very grateful to you for that wonderful book, Krishna Karnamrita. So Prabhus, thank you. Part 2, next Friday. Shri Shri Gaur Nitai ki, Shri Shri Krishna Balaram ki, Shri Shri Radha Shama Sundar ki, Vrindavaneshwari Shrimati Radharani ki, Mayapur Dham ki, Gaur Nitai ki, Shri Krishna Sankirtan Yagya ki, Nitai Gaur Pimanandi, Jai Jai Sisi Radhe Sham. And most important, all glories to Sri Prabhupada.